Yo, what is up guys? Anthony here, back with another Destiny Child video here on the channel. And in today's Destiny Child video, everyone, we are going to be running down here the Ragna Break Season 19 Reincarnation Team Guide. As you can see, we do have it pulled up on the screen already. So before we do dive into this guide, I just wanted to give a huge thank you and credit to Oxytocin for the beautiful guide here, and of course all of the information it does contain. So a huge thank you once more to Oxytocin and any others who may have worked on the guide, as it's amazing to have all of these guides to share with the users on the global side of Destiny Child. So a huge thank you to them, and without any further ado, let's get started here with the guide. As you can see, we do have the fire type debuffer Kalaratri featured on the left hand side towards the top of the guide. As for the boss skills, of course these are subject to change, as these are based on the Japan version. For the tap skill here, we do have attacks to targets, prioritizes the highest HP, 100% chance to inflict time alteration to the targets for 14 seconds long, inflict bleed, 100 damage over time to 2 debuffed targets for 12 seconds, and we do have 100 drive gauge minus 100 to one target, priority lowest HP. For the slide skill here, we do have attacks 3 targets, priority highest HP, inflict allure, prevents buffs to land to the targets for 16 seconds long. We also do have a 100% chance to inflict skill gauge reset to 3 targets, priority highest attack, and a 100% chance to inflict slide skill cooldown plus 4 seconds to 3 targets, priority highest attack for 16 seconds long. As for the drive skill here, we do have attack all targets, inflict bleed, 150 damage over time to the targets for 18 seconds long, and we do have a 100% chance to inflict stun to 2 targets, priority highest attack for 18 seconds long. The leader skill here, debuff evasion plus 40% and debuff duration minus 60%, as well as skill defense plus 70% except for weak point. And the field here, charge speed plus, weak point defense minus, nullify disabled debuffs, and time-based debuffs, unable to use focus. As for the time alteration, it does remove all time-based buffs and skill gauge charge speed minus 40%, and the stun here, unable to move, skill gauge reset, stun plus 1 second when attacked up to 5 seconds. So there are the potential skills for the Ragna Break Season 19 boss in Kalaratri. So we could expect this to stay pretty much the same when it does port over to the global side next week. And of course, these are subject to change, so we'll see on the update note next week. As for the strategy here, we do have gear up your team with accessories with the debuff evasion options, as many as possible. Bleed can be cleared by damage over time cleanse, nullify debuffs, and bleed purify. Time alteration, skill gauge reset, and slide skill cooldown plus can be cleared by nullified debuffs, and time twist. Stun can be blocked by nullified debuffs, allure may be blocked by nullified debuffs, or be cleared by allure cleanse. True Exorcist Nearly is a decent fire Ragna Break unit. Kalaratri could be a new world boss staple if allure is not disabled, replacing Fluttering Citri and Blind Fate Lewin. So there is the strategy for the Ragna Break event, of course, to try and use units that do cleanse damage over time, and of course nullifies debuffs, as well as units that do use time twist. So let's get into the units here and see which units we are recommended to run for the event. First up here, of course, the MVP is True Exorcist Nearly, as you do want to run the newest water type supporter for this specific event, as she does counter the boss pretty well. As for the features she does contain, she has Allure Cleanse, Double-Edged Sword, Max HP Plus, and Nullified debuffs. As for the aid category, we do have Newbie Mona with the Damage Over Time Cleanse, Vampirism, Charge Speed Plus, and Aid. The crits buffer, it's suggested to run one of these units. We do have Lupin and the Pantheon. Lupin does provide Awakening, crit rate, and damage plus, as well as tapped Final Blow, and Pantheon here does apply crits rate and damage plus. The weak point category here, we do have Leo alone, so you'll want to run Leo on your team. Does apply gauge charge, charge amount plus, and weak point damage plus. As for the double edge units, it's recommended to run 0+ of these units, as we do have Nerdy with the double edge on her slide. But for this category, we do have Summer Davi and Neptune. Of course, Davi applying a double edged sword and gauge charge. Neptune here applying a double-edged sword, charge speed plus, and heal. As for other offensive supporters, it's recommended to run 0+ of these units. First up here, we do have Thisbe, Senga, Guillotine, Hermes, Maid Citri, and Rusalka. Thisbe here does apply nullified debuffs, charge amounts plus, slide cooldown minus, and gauge charge. Senga here, charge amounts plus, slide cooldown minus, and gauge fill. Guillotine here, attack plus and charge amounts plus. Hermes here, attack plus and tap damage plus. Maid Citri, gauge charge and time twist. And last but not least, Rusalka, fire nullified debuffs, fire charge amounts plus, and gauge charge. As for other survival supports, we do have it recommended a 0+ here for these units. First up, we do have Pomona, nullified debuffs and regen, as well as mods with the full team regen. So depending on your units, you will want to adjust your team accordingly based on uncaps, etc. As for the attackers here, it's recommended to run 1 to 2 of these units. First up, we do have Vairupa, followed by Maftet, Eve, Thanatos, Darkbuster Lisa, Maid Circuit, and Hopeful Dino. For the tips here, we do have attacker prioritization being a 4-hit tap over a 6-hit slide, a 6-hit slide over a 4-hit slide, a 3-hit tap over a 3-hit slide. Eve is only good when fully ignited. Fully ignited Thanatos would perform better than 6-hit sliders due to the slide cooldown plus debuff. We also do have here Vairupa is the best attacker without ignition, followed by Thanatos, and best budget attacker is Vairupa with 2 stars worth of ignition. So you'll want to prioritize these attackers from left to right, of course depending on your uncaps and ignition status. But Vairupa here does run tap, Maftet slide, Eve slide, Thanatos tap, Darkbuster Lisa tap, Maid Circuit slide, and Hopeful Dino on slide. As for the soul carders here, it's recommended to run Eve's Fury for the tappers units, and of course it's usable as well for sliders. We also do have here the Moments of Respite for the slider units, and we do have the Second Death soul carder being a backup. For the supporter units, you'll want to run Showtime, best defensive soul carder in Ragna Break, or any other HP defense carder can be used in substitution. As for the last one here, we do have Towards the Glittering Waves, a dark type supporter's choice. And last here for the guide, we do have the sample teams. Of course, you'll want to target some of these compositions listed below, but of course, depending on your units, you may have to substitute any of the units recommended above. But here's a good set of teams to recommend to you all. First up, we do have a team with Vairupa, Leo, Nubimona, Nerdy, and Lupin. As for the leader skill here, we do have Vairupa lead. We do have the critical build, drive, skill order will be Nerdy into a Vairupa drive, and a Vairupa drive into a Leo or Lupin drive. If you have ignited Diva Miku, she would be better than Nubimona. Next up here, we do have the old school build. It's recommended to run Maftet, Nubimona, Lupin, Thisbe, and Neptune with the Maftet leader skill. As for the drive order, we do have Thisbe, followed by a Nubimona drive into a Lupin drive. For the bottom left team here, we do have Vairupa, Leo, Nubimona, Swimsuit Davi, and Thisbe. Speed build, the drive skill order here will be Vairupa into a Thisbe drive and ending off with a Leo drive. As for the tip here, once again, if you do have ignited Diva Miku, she would be better than Nubimona. As for the final team here, we do have a sample off element team, which does include fully ignited Courtesan Battery, Lupin, Nubimona, Failnauts, and Rusalka. Being the leader skill, of course, will be Rusalka. Good only when you have a fully ignited Courtesan Battery. For the drive skill order here, you'll want to run a Courtesan Battery into a Nubimona drive and ending off with a Lupin drive. As for the skill order, you'll want to run Battery on a tap slide rotation and fail not with the slide only. So overall, there is the guide and of course the sample teams, as well as all of the tips and soul carder recommendations for your units. So make sure to let me know down below what kind of team you'll be aiming for this specific event. Of course, it does seem to be a ton of fun We do have some amazing units that we did overview and preview in our last Destiny Child video, so if you haven't seen that one already, I'll be sure to link it in the description box below, and of course in the top right hand card of this video screen right now, so you guys can check it out if you haven't already done so. But anyways, that'll pretty much do it for today's Destiny Child video, and of course the Ragna Break Season 19 Reincarnation Team Guide overview here on the channel. So once more, a huge thank you to Oxytocin and any others who may have contributed towards this beautiful guide. Once more, thank you so much for this amazing guide, and of course the translations. I'll be sure to link the guide in the description box below to the direct image, and of course leave Discord links to the Destiny Child global Discord server, and of course the Chinese server as well. But before you go everyone, if you did enjoy today's Destiny Child video, make sure to leave a like on this one, and of course if you haven't yet done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the Destiny Child content and would like to stay notified for future videos here and live streams as well. But with all of that being said, I'll see you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.